Hey, you guys, hold on a second while I do my sound check, as usual. Sound check. Open display settings.
It's hard not to think about the things we're missing out on.
Hey, Honest Abe. We'll get started in a second. There we go. My sound's working. All right. So, I have a whole bunch of figures to open, as you can see. And so, I got a lot of videos to make this weekend. But I wanted to start with my favorite figure I've been waiting to open for a while. And that is this spectacular Spider-Man. Yep, there are a lot of figures. So let me start why I'm opening the Spider-Man first. So I have spent years looking for the perfect Hulk. And to me, this is the most perfect Hulk. Those who have seen my videos in the past, you can see that I have all kinds of Hulks. And this was like the ultimate Hulk. Finally, it reminded me of my 1978 Hulk comics that I used to read when I was a kid. And this was it. But I had a hard time finding the ultimate Spider-Man. I've gone through tons and tons of Spider-Mans. I found this one, which is really cool. And I love this Spider-Man here. He is great. He's got lots of articulation. He's got alternate heads. He's got alternate hands. It's just a really cool Spider-Man and, you know, lots of cool stuff. But the problem is, next to a He-Man figure, you know, he's like a 11-year-old boy, you know. And so I did not want this to be my He-Man's world Spider-Man. So I've been looking for a Spider-Man that's big enough to fit alongside He-Man. And that is where this Spider-Man comes in. And I'm pretty excited about actually getting this Spider-Man open and see how he compares next to He-Man. So if you want, in the link, I have a description, or in a description in the link. So if you want to click and see what the Spider-Man looks like in the package and stuff, and maybe get your own, there is a link in the description to get your own. So let's take a look at this spectacular Spider-Man. And I got some of Spidey's friends too. I have Firestar, and I have Black Cat also waiting to be opened. So pretty exciting stuff. So on the back, it shows a really cool picture of Spider-Man. And I wish the figure actually was this color blue. You can see the blue is a little different. But we'll see how it looks. But the Spider-Man that I was sold on was this one right here. So let's go ahead and open it up and see. Where did I get my He-Man figures? I actually got them from Big Bad Toy Store. That's the easiest way to get them. I am thinking about going to BobaCon this weekend and picking up a Clamp Champ. They had one there on the shelf that I saw earlier in the week. So I may end up going and getting that Clamp Champ. Oh, they're all falling over. Anyway, let's go and set this aside and look at the directions they have here. And so it comes with this coolness of different figures and stuff on the line. And things you can get. Storm looks really cool. Look at that. Not a fan of the Red Hulk. And there we go. Ooh, look at all the cool stuff. All right, let's put that aside and let's bust into this Spider-Man. First off the bat, you can see that Spider-Man has an alternate head of Peter Parker. So let's go ahead and pop that out and get that looked at. So you can see the noggin size is quite a bit different. So even though the Spider-Man's taller, his head sizes does not quite fit him in Masters, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and continue on, and maybe with his mask on it'll be a little different. Now it's fun too, as a fun accessory, they have a mask that's all wadded up so you can put in his hand. So when you put this head on, you can have his hand holding the mask. And he has a camera. These are all taped in, so I'll have to pull them out later. Then he has extra hands. And right now he has the web shooter hands on. All right, so let's go ahead and bust them out of here. Let's check out your guys' questions in a moment. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. This does remind me of the 90s Spider-Man, so it's kind of cool. I don't know if it is or not, but oh, let me get these things off there. I just waited so long for a good Spider-Man figure. I've been tempted to make my own from a He-Man body, but as you guys know, Spider-Man is supposed to be kind of skinny too, even though it would be kind of cool to actually have a He-Man sized Spider-Man. Now, a friend of mine, he actually, I think, is dressed up as Spider-Man, and he actually made some Spider-Man boots he was showing me, where he painted these boots with the cool webbing on it, and the paint he used was actually flexible enough that they didn't come off the boots. That was pretty cool. He sent me a picture of the paint so I could get some to use on some of the stuff that I paint that's flexible. Oh, he's got clamps on his elbows too. Ah, I can't get you out of there, Spider-Man. You've been trapped. The Kingpin has come up with some new trap for you. That'd be a fun one to get, the Kingpin. Have you guys seen that Kingpin figure? It is so cool looking. Now, I wish they would have gone with the colors they had for the Build-A-Figure instead of the new color scheme they have, but there we go. Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh, he's got big feet. I always like when they have big feet. That way they can stand on their own without falling over so easily. What did I do with that shorter Spider-Man? Here he is. So let's look at the size difference. You can just see right there, it's just a mammoth difference between the Spider-Man that my granddaughters play with that I give them and this new Spider-Man. All right, let's go ahead and stand him up and stick him next to He-Man, which is the reason why I got this massively... Oh, you know what? I should cover articulation first. All right, articulation, let's break it down. It looks like he has some ankle articulation. Now, this plastic does feel a little hard in some places, like it may snap if you're not careful. So be very extra careful. He's got the double jointed knees, so you can really get him into some really cool spider poses and stuff. And he has the upper leg articulation. It feels like it may need to be heated before I force this joint. Here, oh, weird. Never mind. The joint's at the top of the leg. That is a very strange place. Just the joint goes across, not up inside. So that is a really strange articulation point. So you just can't bring his leg up, straight up. It has to twist around and then double twist at the top because it's pinned in going up, not across. So if you want to put his leg up, you have to either turn the joint like that so you can put his leg up, or just keep working it slowly around both joints together to do that move. His waist does not turn, but he has an upper movement up here in his chest. I can't believe his waist isn't turn. It looks like it would. It feels like it would, but I can't tell if it's just... Oh, it does turn. There we go. There's a little bit of force. It always scares me to do that. Oh, he's got a cool spider on his back. Then he's got great shoulder articulation. Lots of movement up there. He has the bicep cut, which then, of course, ruins the aesthetic of the web going down, but at least he has the articulation there. Double jointed elbows. And then he has the hang loose sign. And his wrists bend back and forth as well as rotate. His head, of course, moves all over the place because he has a swappable head. Oh, that's really tight. I'm not going to pull that off. I don't want to ruin or split the seam of the body trying to get it off. So my only negative about this is raising the legs straight up like he's going to go in a sitting pose. You can't because the pin goes straight up inside there. You have to literally crank the leg at some crazy angle and then bring it up. So you can still do it, but now you have this articulation going in a strange spot. So not easy to do, which means if you hand this to a kid to play with, the chances of that pin breaking are really high because they're going to try to put him in that sitting position and snap that pin right off in there. But other than that, that's my only gripe about this figure. Look at the detailing. That is so cool. Sorry to hear that, Honest Abe, about your Indiana Jones figure. That really stinks. Yes, the skinnier figures, the limbs do break easier. That is definitely true. All right, look at the eyes on there. Oh, so cool. And what's cool about this too is not only are these painted, they're actually sculpted in some of the webbings. So you can actually feel the bumps on the webbings on there. That is so cool. And James, look, it looks like your boots, man. All right. So, moment of truth. Dun 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 dun. Okay, he is a little taller than He-Man. I was hoping to be a little shorter, but if you put him in some squat pose, because Spider-Man's always kind of doing some weird little squat type thing, he very rarely just stands straight up, then he will fit just right. So I may have to do a little bit of change on here. I'm thinking about maybe making his upper thigh shorter here in this spot. That way then he'll be shorter. And just basically sanding off the top and redoing the pinhole and just taking off maybe a 1/4 inch right there just to make him so that he will be the right height for He-Man and the Masters. So this Spider-Man may undergo some surgery for height reduction, but he is very cool. He'll be the only person on Eternia without a huge giant wrestling physique. There we go. Ha! Now he's as short as He-Man once he's in his crazy Spidey pose. Shoots his web. Thwap! All right. So, now that I got Spider-Man open, let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff going on. Let's see your guys' questions first. Oh yeah, the DC superhero girls. My granddaughter snapped one in half, Big Barda, and just snapped her right in half. And I had to super glue her back together and make her work. Spydor, yep. Spydor. Also, do you know where to get cheap, older Master Universe figures? If not, it's all right. I usually get all mine from eBay. Sorry, that's usually the best place I get them from. There's also a store that I go to sometimes to get stuff from. That's my local comic book store. So, as you guys know, I've been printing those giant dungeons and things with my 3D printer. Well, my 3D printer last night, or the night before, gave it the ghost, and it is no longer working. So I'm going to return it back to Amazon. First thing I noticed, I was printing some cat armor for a guy, and this is what I got. This is the new cat armor for that Catra figure. And then, and here's what the armor is supposed to kind of look like. And then I printed this one, which is a little thinner shell for that Catra figure, and it also came out okay. But then the last thing I printed was this, which is a much bigger shell for the Catra figure. And you can see it had a problem printing right here. And then when it stopped right here, that printer had a fatal error. And that was the end of the printer. And so another printer has bit the dust with me trying to print things. So that printer is going back to Amazon. And I might try to find a more expensive printer to still make things, because obviously I still want to make the dungeon and stuff. So that will be in the near future. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a question, and let's see what you guys think. Which figure should I open for my next video? Firestar or Black Cat? Go ahead and vote in the chat, and then I'll start a new video in a few minutes, and I'll open the next one. Let me take a look at your other questions while you guys are voting. Let's see. Yes, Land Shark. I really want to make my Land Shark work for my classics. So that will be my goal with my Land Shark after I open it, is figuring out a way to make the classics work fine, whether it's increasing the handles, creating something there, or whether it's actually standing on an area for their feet to fit, or the back of their seat. Let's see. Randy voted Firestar. Randy, so far you're the first and only vote, so Firestar might be the next one I open. Yeah, I wish I could find a really good Iceman too. Then I could have Spider-Man and his amazing friends all together. Now, Firestar is a smaller figure, but being she's a female figure, I'm okay with that because those usually seem to work okay. It's the male figures when they're too short just does not look very good and kind of doesn't fit in right. Man, I wish they would have had that articulation go across this way, like all the other figures in the world, instead of going straight up. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, my sons, when they were little, had a giant 12-inch, maybe it's 10-inch Spider-Man, and it had the same problem, and it did snap. And I remember trying to put metal pins in there and everything else to fix it, and now I understand why their figure snaps so easy, because it was in that strange position going up instead of across. So they were always fighting that articulation point. Let's see if Spider-Man can do some. Oh. Ugh. 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 Of course, Spider-Man has his own unique fighting style. Even though I like to put figures into this pose here, it's always fun. All right, Chris has voted Firestar as well. All right, you guys, this is your chance to vote. I try to balance Spider-Man on one foot. Hooray! Oop. Oh. Let's get him to stand over here first by himself. Then we'll stick him in front of Spider-Man. There we go. All right. Well, I got 2 votes. So I guess that's probably the end of it. So thanks, you guys. Be prepared for another video probably in about 5 or 10 minutes. And it will be opening Firestar. Firestar! And we'll pin her next to Spider-Man and see how she looks. And like, subscribe, tell your friends. And that's all I got for Spider-Man. See you in a few minutes. Bye now. Thanks for watching.